and who better to do it with than you, because we go way back, and I think we have a lot of common grounds plus some interesting experiences to talk about. So maybe we should start with like our introduction. Do you want to go first, or should I?
I think I can go first.
Okay, go for it, man.
Hello, all the listeners. My name is Subramanian. You can call me Subu. Currently, I'm running a small startup in Coimbatore called Waymore, where we recycle plastic bottles into t-shirts. And yeah, Gautam and I met in college like almost 10 years back. It was just like a week back to 10 years.
Crazy, yeah.
And I don't know what your first opinions were. For me, you were like one of those talented fellows who I knew of through Varun, and never knew. I think never would have thought about that we'd be such close friends or end up being such close friends. And then once I met you, I think over a couple of years, it just became that hey, this guy's just like me, and yeah, really excited for this.
Oh, that's awesome, man. Thank you so much for your kind words. But yeah, so to whoever's listening, yeah, my name is Gautam, and yeah, Subha and I have known each other for the last 10 years. We actually studied in the same undergrad together. We did I did my computer engineering. You did computer engineering as well, right? Or
Yeah.
what did you do? Yeah, I forgot, man. I've lost track. Yeah, but we did, and then we had a first job together, and since then we have taken slightly different paths, but a lot of paddles that we want to talk about. And currently, I've just finished my MBA, and yeah, just waiting before the next big thing happens. So very excited to talk. And I don't have a recollection of the first time that I met Subu or not, but I did know him as my Varun's friend, and he's just out there, man. And over the 4 years that I got to know him in undergrad, man, Subu did a lot of amazing things. Did a lot of cool things, including going to Barcelona for the Mobile World Congress, which I'm sure we'll touch upon sometime going forward. He's done some amazing work. I think Waymore is a fantastic idea, and yeah, I look forward to talking about it, man, as we continue.
Thanks, bro. Thanks, bro. So I was thinking, like between us, our friendship, I think truly resonated and was it at its peak when we did the Chadar trek in 2017,
Oh,
right?
absolutely.
I remember I quit what I was doing and we were sitting in my balcony. I think you were taking a leave from office and I was planning this for a year. And you just came, you heard my plans. I'm like, I'm going to join you and I'm going to put my papers. I'm going to join you. And there you go. Within like 2 weeks, we were in Ladakh. And I remember the first time we were there, the first night, minus 32 degrees or so, and you looked at me and said to me that, Macha, what did we get ourselves into? What were we thinking?
Oh man, that was an amazing experience. I'm so glad that that you had that plan, and it just at that moment. Actually, just a small correction, that I had already put my papers actually. So we
All
had
right.
met at where Vivek was staying, and we were in that balcony, and you were telling me about this trip. You had talked to one trek leader, and
Mm-hmm.
I was just figuring out. I just needed a break at that time. I had gone through like one intense 2 years of working with startups, and I just needed a break, and it just sounded like such a fantastic idea. I had like money saved up. I immediately booked. We went. We And I do remember, man, that trip really brought us closer. Like drinking over around the fire camp. And you remember the last few nights where our sleeping bags were wet. We
Oh,
were
yeah.
we were basically
Oh,
warming each other up.
even the last day, right? When everything was supposed to be over and then an
Oh
avalanche, not an avalanche,
man.
but like a landslide hit. And then we were stuck in the cold for like 9 hours
And
without a
then
bus.
we walked for the last 10 15 kilometers in pitch black. You remember?
Yeah. Good times,
Mm,
good times.
good times, man. Really good time. Hopefully we can talk about that as well, as we move forward.
Yeah.
So Subbu, what's your like main motivation for like wanting to do this?
So I think, firstly, I think would be I've never done a podcast, and I think it's a new experience. So why not, right? I've always said new, like yes to experiences. But I think the bigger point would be that I think as a student, I used to think that you need to be good or be better at something to get somewhere. And that way of thinking was very, very restrictive. And now that you think about it, it doesn't matter at all. So I'm doing this because I want to share some views and my story, which is not very conventional. And just want to share that, your career doesn't depend on what you do in 18 to 25, really, which is possibly the way we all used to think.
Yeah, yeah. Well said, man. Well said. I'd say my motivation behind that as well is pretty similar. I I mean, same. We went through the same thing as through undergrad and through even I see that even now with the whole MBA and this masters in big data. It's
Mhm.
just that a piece of paper does not define you, in my opinion. And
Absolutely.
I'm more coming from a point of view as a resume, what you put down, because I've just over the last few months I've been going through this crazy job hunt process,
Hmm.
and it is probably the most taxing thing that a person goes through, especially when you've invested so much in education, and having a job is sort of like the validation that money that you've invested actually makes sense, right? It's like, okay, you're good enough that someone thinks the money you've invested has not gone waste. You're good enough that someone wants to put in money to hire you. You know what I
Yeah,
mean?
yeah. I think there needs to be like a newer way of filtering things, right? Just,
Absolutely, man.
just like with
Absolutely.
just like with visas as well, right? Like, why is my financial background, or like, there's no so the my biggest problem with interviews and this process is that it doesn't get better as you progress, right? It's the same process again,
It's the
right?
same process again, and it's a very archaic process. It's not evolved as much as it should have with the time that we're in. And I totally agree with the other point that you brought up as well. If I could just go back to like the 18-year-old me, and I would just say, you need to stop thinking about uh, these jobs and these experiences in a conventional sense, because there is so much more that can be done if you just stop trying to conform to what society defines as successful and society defines as the right way to. I'm not saying we are outliers, we're the hippies
Mhm.
of this thing. I'm not
Yeah.
trying to say that, but I'm just saying, it's not been easy. Like, especially coming from a culture which emphasizes marks, GPA
Correct.
so much, and we were never good students. We were, we
What,
were
what was your GPA finally at the
Oh
end of
man,
it?
I ended up with a 7 because
Damn.
because of
Uh-huh.
Sham and Bharat, because we did our final project together on Raspberry Pi, and Sham
Uh,
had his brother in. Okay, I can tell you this because they're not going to take my degree away. But Sham's brother in Germany, like, pretty much helped us entirely with that project. We did on a Raspberry Pi. We pretty much did like one thing, and we showed that again and again, and we got an excellent grade. I got an 8.8 in my final semester, because of which otherwise my GPA was 6.7, 6.8, and it jumped 6.5 also. I think it jumped to a 7 because of that one. Uh, and also, do you remember our first term, our
uh-huh.
initial GPA was 7, and
Yeah.
then there was some restructuring of the grade,
And then it went
something.
up to 8.
It went up to 8.
I think that's the only semester I've seen 8 in, and then the final semester. Even
Oh,
final semester, I got a 9, and
uh-huh.
yet my CGPA is only 6.8.
Actually, if you remember when we both went for Musigma, oh
Uh-huh.
yeah, yeah, Musigma. I might have to edit that out later.
Do it again. Do it again. When you first went for,
Yeah,
do
yeah,
that
no,
bit
no,
again.
no worries. I'll just bleep it out and I'll say we didn't want
Mm.
to mention. Yeah. Anyway, so when we went went for the our first interview, that the analytics company that came, man, remember my GPA at that point was 5.5 because I had a backlog, not a backlog, but I had to give that supplementary exam. And you had one as well. You remember? And we were
Yeah.
having that conversation in your room. We were like, dude, both of us are like the underdogs here. And if we come out of this with a job, it'll be like the best story to tell. And we were one of the first to get placed. You remember?
Yeah, I know. I think, yeah, the one of
Uh,
the few first ones.
yeah,
True,
man.
true. Completely agree.
Yeah. So anyway, that's just my major. Coming back to the major motivation, I think I just want to be able to, if I can reach out to one person who's struggling, going through this process right now, someone who's young like us, who's just getting into undergrad, probably picked a degree that they didn't think they just did it because it sounds right. I just want to let them know that this is there's just so much more. There are so many more doors that are going to open. All you got to do is just be open to taking a risk, which I think is the biggest thing that we are told against constantly by by parents, by society, by just everyone, authorities in general.
I think I will just add like another thing on top of what you said is very true that taking a risk is something we don't encourage generally. But I think one more thing I would say that I would focus on in an earlier or 18-year-old me was trying to find out ways I can create value, because once you understand that, then opportunities open up automatically, right? Even with your
Absolutely.
acting, and I know you had an option to make a career in acting, and that's only because you created some value in your through your acting, right? Similarly, I wish I had created such opportunities for me where I understood what value I created for someone else. But
Yeah,
yeah,
yeah, absolutely. And I think you don't have to stick to like one uh,
fair enough.
value branch, like you can explore it and then you can realize that perhaps this is not for me, but you need to have that same drive to restart or start over again and constantly try something new, man. It's so hard. It's so easy to fall into a rut, in our current, the way things are structured right now, so easy to fall into a comfortable job. Just, just keep like stick to one job, stick to like one role, you get paid, you're comfy. But anyway, yeah,
Hmm.
so now that we have established that, let's actually talk about our undergrad and talk about like our engineering. So I had a question here for you, man. Like,
Hmm.
was computer engineering your first choice? Did you want to do engineering back in 2010? I know like people start preparing for this in 2000 when they're in their 10th, or when they start going for like these entrance exam coaching and all that. So what was your game plan, man? What was your
For me, I think I used to think that so generally, right, in my life, my ambitions are far bigger than my reality, right? And I wanted to get into IIT. I joined some IIT coaching, was very, very bad at it. I started going to play snooker and pool during IIT classes. So I knew that was not going to work out, right? Um, and then Amrita happened. I came in through donation. I didn't even get through merit, right?
same
I
same.
came in through donation. Like everything has failed, and I went to dad, and dad kind of, this is the last thing I'm doing for you.
Dude, I didn't even go for coaching. My parents decided from 10th grade that this guy is not going to crack any of those exams. Just pass 10th, 11th, 12th, and we'll get you into like a decent university. And Amrita is very open to donation and
Fair enough.
managed quota is what they call
Fair,
it.
fair enough. So for me, okay, Amrita is there. So me and my dad were supposed to go the next day to decide, okay, how much donation to pay and what course to take, etc. And I meet a friend of mine like a day before, and I'm like, I'm telling him that, bro, what do I do? I don't know what to study. Like, I don't even know if I want to study, or because everyone is going to engineering, so I'll also take it up. So my dad is saying mechanical engineering because evergreen field and all of that, but I don't know, man, who wants to do mechanical.
Who
so
wants to
my
do it?
so my friend tells me that, bro, you got to take computer science because I took it. We will both go into the same school, same class again, we're going to have fun. So I was like, okay, sounds good to me. I think for me it doesn't matter at which engineering. And then I asked him, why do you want to do? So he convinced me that computer science is a good option by telling me that, bro, if we study computer science, we will know how to make these Samsung TVs. Like, do you see all these LED displays? That is what we can possibly understand, how they make these amazing TVs, right? Which now we look at it, it's stupid. That's electronics or something like this,
Yeah.
right? So I convinced myself that computer science is also an option. But here we are the next day in Amrita with a bag of money and whatever. Um, and I'm filling the form. My dad says, take mechanical engineering, evergreen field, you'll have a future. And I'm saying, I want to take computer science. And funny enough, we decided this over a coin toss, and computer science came up.
Oh my God.
So, I mean, in hindsight, yeah, luck worked out the best way for me, man. I couldn't have gone through mechanical, and
No, no chance.
that
So for
coin
me,
was, I should have kept that coin with me.
yeah. So for me, actually, there was my dad's a mechanical engineer, and my
Correct.
sister was a mechanical engineer as well. And I
Runs in
think
the family, yeah.
she took the bullet for me, huh? Because she went through mechanical engineering, and I saw it, and I knew this is not for me. Like I couldn't do it. And computer engineering seemed like the most logical step, and my
Mhm.
parents thought so as well, because very it's a very naive way to take a decision, but at that time I was so into video games and I loved making these
Yeah.
animations and all of that shit. I was like, okay, computer engineering makes a lot of sense. And I remember my first meeting. This was in Coimbatore. But yeah, what was that place called? It was in
Etimade.
Yeah, Etimade. And we had gone like to do the whole final payment and then go. And I was talking to. We had a relative who worked in one of the offices there. Not a very close one, a little distant. So we went to his office and then we were just talking. And then he that guy, very strict. He turned to me and he's like, so you picked Bangalore campus instead of Coimbatore or this thing. He's like, before I could say anything, he's like, don't think you can party over there because Bangalore is also follows the same values that we follow here. Don't think you're going to have a better time just because you go there. I was like, fuck, this guy clearly has a purpose ass. And then he asked me, okay, so what do you want to achieve at the end of like 4 years? And I was 17, 18. I was just like, yeah, I want to make a lot of money. And, I just want to give me a lot of money. And then he was like, money is in everything. He gave me that lecture. We got out of the room and my dad turns to me and he's like, you really need to work on how you answer these questions. and it's true. Yeah. I mean, because saying something like you're just chasing money, it's a very factual statement. Who doesn't want money? But there has to be more purpose to what you want to achieve apart from that. But computer engineering was go on.
Yeah, for me, I think I wanted Coimbatore because I studied my 11th and 12th and my friends were there.
Okay.
And we were willing to pay, I think it was 2 lakhs for Bangalore and 3 lakhs for Coimbatore or whatever. So we were ready to pay that one extra so that I could be close to home. And those guys actually said, you don't have the marks to get into Coimbatore. Sorry, you're not good enough for us. Bangalore is the only option for you. I'm like, dude, first of all, right, I'm not good enough for anyway, right? That's why I'm here with the money. Right? And then you take the choice away from me.
Dude, but can you imagine what I mean, I think we really it was probably not a decision made with a lot of thought, but it was in hindsight, it was probably the best thing that we did computer engineering. Yeah?
Absolutely. Couldn't agree more.
Given the current, like just how things have progressed, how things have evolved, the industries have evolved. I mean, I'd rather have a computer engineering degree than any other, to be honest.
I'd rather have a no degree, but a lot of skills.
Yeah, true. But I mean, the way
Fair enough, but we're still Indians. Let's live in reality, right?
Let's live in reality. We need this thing. So anyway, 4 years of engineering, computer engineering. How do you think it changed from year 1 to year 4 for you?
Ooh. So I think when I joined Amrita, right, I was kind of clueless, right? Same thinking that, okay, I joined engineering and let's just get through it. I'll probably get a job at the end. And that whole thinking of the job was very far away because that's something you think in 8th semester or 4th year, right? So, so I was just like, whatever, having fun. But then once I got in, like 3 months into it, there was all these social programs and you were in Amrita Dhara and all these social activities and I couldn't fit into any of them. And that's when, I think 6 months into it, 1 semester into it, I realized that, damn, I don't have talent. I don't have any point of view. When I would, no, back then, I mean, let's be real, right? I'll put it differently. I didn't have any special points of view, right? So, for example, I would chill with Ban and Varun, and they would say something, and I'm like, oh man, I don't have anything more to say. So it would be more like, what am I doing here, right? And then I would go to these computer science forum events, face events, and I'm like, I didn't know there were such things happening. What am I doing, right? So I think that was like on one track. On the other track, I met Varun, right? You kind of mentioned sometime back that what do you want to achieve? That this guy asking you, right? So I have like a very funny memory of Varun that we were in the English class, and I think Jyotsna ma'am asked all of us that what do you want to become? And everyone's like, I want to become a good software engineer. I want to do my master's. I want to do PhD research, blah blah. I don't know what I said. I'm pretty sure I said something like that. I want a good job or Microsoft or something like that. But Varun said, all I want to do is go to America.
Oh. That is a classic Varun.
I know. So I think throughout the first semester where I was like trying to figure out, I don't have a voice or opinion or something like that. The fun side was with Varun and like fewer close friends of Varun. And then second semester is when I started thinking that, I would like to learn, what's happening in technology, because because I think that's when somebody did a workshop in augmented reality and showed us like, I think Statue of Liberty coming out of his mobile phone. I was like, holy shit, this guy's just 1 year elder to me and already does it. I think it was Suhas.
Mm-hmm.
And that's when I started taking some interest into it. And then my 4 years was basically just following some interest. Studies was never a priority, right?
Studies was
we
never a
were
priority.
we were quite bad, and I think it was probably because the school was boring and the classes were boring. And I think the larger point I was trying to make here is that I think we've paid the college so that we grow as individuals, as computer
Right.
scientists or whatever, and they just did a poor job. I wouldn't blame myself that we were just like loafing around or doing whatever. I think they just failed to do their jobs well because they were paid to do this, right?
Mm.
And I think they just didn't care. So
I
why
think
should I
okay, but
care, right?
I get what you're saying there, but I want to interject with another point of view.
Mm-hmm.
The thing is, I mean, if you look at it that way, right, most universities tend to fail to because in that case, the only way a university or any educational institute would be successful if there was complete handholding and you had no life to live. Amrita failed on many fronts, in my opinion. One was basic dignity that it offered to students in general.
Correct.
But I might have to blur that out later. But I think one of the things that I'm glad that it did give me is I really, really had an appreciation for a lot of things
Mm-hmm.
that was just either restricted or was hard to get in Amrita, like a lot of the luxuries that we now take for granted. For example, if you want to go out and eat right now, you could
Yeah.
just get up, take your wallet, go to the nearest restaurant, eat, take as much time as you want and come back.
Yeah.
You remember what a process it was in
Or
Amrita
get
Hostel.
gate pass and
Gate
scan
pass,
your
you
ID
got to come
cards.
back at the right time. If you don't come back, then you get into trouble. Then you got to write an apology letter. That's the minimum. Otherwise, it gets escalated. You have disco. You have, oh man, it was just like, but it gave me, now I don't take for granted. Like, and for a long time after I got out of Amrita, I did not take for granted the freedom or the things that I was able to do. And this is the reality of a lot of people. We don't really understand. Like, and it's this restrictions don't come from an institute alone. It comes from family. It comes from home. There are a lot of people, and in Indian culture, a lot of women especially. You see a lot of this restrictive culture that is imposed on people, right? My sisters, for example, when we were in Palakkad, my sisters had a curfew. They would not be allowed to get out after like 8 p.m. or something. While I would go for like a night show, come home at like 12. But it's just the way that we've been cultured.
Yeah, I
But
think
anyway, coming
it's
back to
it's like a college for parents. Parents
peace
is
of
peace
mind,
of mind rather
peace of
than
mind.
for like fostering students so much. But I think again, since we spoke about it, I think I will not trash talk so much. I think I got a lot of good things from
Yeah,
Amrita as
I
well,
would say
right?
like it's. I mean, it's very easy to hate on Amrita, but the thing
Yeah,
is, at the end of the day, we are
where we
where
are.
we are because of the experiences that we had over there.
True. I think
I
one
wanna,
point I would say is like I met a lot of amazing people that I'm still very close friends with, or who still continue to like
yeah, I would say the
inspire
same
me because of Amrita, right?
because of
And
Amrita.
because of the confinements of the hostel policies and whatever, we became such good friends, right?
Such
You
good
look
friends,
at
man.
our
Yeah,
circle of friends, and it's probably because we had so much time to spend with each other in the
so
hostel.
much time. Actually, over here, I want to quickly. We've talked about Varun a little, and I want to quickly just call out like Varun has been the source of most amount of fun. I think
Fair
for
enough.
both our rooms. Our rooms were side by side. We had
Shout
a
out Varun, shout out,
major
represent.
shout out to Varun because Varun has been a source of just tremendous amounts of fun. And I swear to God, my college days would not have been half as fun if Varun wasn't my roommate, and we didn't go through
Oh,
the shit that we went through.
I would say that for Ban as well. So
Yeah,
Ban and
sure.
Varun.
But for me, Varun and Vishwanath, because I mean, it was just such an interesting dynamic to have in that one room, to have someone like Varun who is so uh, who went to America, came back with a lot of swag, versus Vishwanath, who's on the complete other end of the spectrum with his yoga every morning, waking up at 5 a.m.
Oh
and
yeah, I was
such.
roommates with Vishwanath for a semester. Like the eighth
Yeah,
semester, you guys kicked him out, and he came
no,
to
no,
our
we
room
didn't kick
because
him out. We didn't
no.
kick him out. He ran out because our room was so filthy at the end. Me and Varun just stopped caring. Vishwanath could not live in that room anymore. And it was totally our fault. We basically drove him out. You remember at the end of every semester, we used to clean out the room,
Huh?
and the entire floor's pile of garbage would be smaller than the pile of garbage that would come out of our room.
Oh, I remember, like, I think with your rooms, right? I don't know. Let's bring back Varun once again, right? I know that he used to bring like lot of new clothes every beginning of every semester,
Then he would
and
just throw it.
week over week it just goes over his bed into Jagannath's bed, or like Jagannath moved out, so it's just like his
His
suitcase
laundry
or
bag.
his laundry bag. And then end of semester, that whole thing goes into the garbage. But anyway, I think what I was saying is, I think one more point what I said earlier about I didn't have opinions, or like didn't think too much about anything before coming to Amrita. These 4 years and seeing different personalities, and I think you see different personalities in school as well, but you don't spend day in day out with them, right? And they are, let's say, pet peeves, if you can
Yeah,
say,
yeah.
doesn't bother you. But in hostel or like in
Gotta
college,
live
when
with
you're
it.
spending so much, you
Gotta
gotta
live
live
with
with it. I think you take something from everyone's personality. For me, uh, you know, like my roommates Oban, Yuga also very interesting guy, right? Like again, you the point is that I think you do take a lot from the people you spend time with, and I'm so glad that happened. So yeah, shout out to Amrita for
Yeah,
somehow
major.
worked
And
out.
I think staying in the hostel was one of the best decisions I made, because it truly changed me from, being, it really made me self-sufficient, and really helped me helped me learn how to adjust with a lot of different people. I want to talk about like my first year to fourth year journey, and a big shout out to Shomer over here. So
Mhm.
Shomer was a fourth year student when I was in my first year, and he's currently a big shot in Facebook doing some
Correct.
kick-ass work.
Hmm.
And I did my first play. So my
Hmm.
first stage play was with Shomer and his crew, and he was a drama legend in
Hmm.
Amrita and outside as well. So it was really an amazing opportunity to work with them, and get that perspective. And these guys had gone through the whole 4 years. Huh? So, and Shomer was the president of the student council and things like that. Shomer told me one thing when we were practicing for our first stage play, which was what was it called? Kalanjali,
Yeah.
right? The big
Hmm.
event. Yeah. So he told me one thing. He's like, you might not have wanted to do computer engineering. You might have not even wanted to be here, but apparently his senior had told him one piece of advice, which he
Hmm.
passed down to me, and now which I hopefully pass down to someone else, is this 4 years is not for you to get your degree alone. This 4 years is for you to discover who you are, because you are finally removed from all comfort zones that you were used to,
Hmm.
and you're put in a place with a bunch of people you do not know, and you are asked to find your own way.
That is
So
brilliant too. That's
this
very well put. Yeah.
yeah, exactly, right. This blew my mind, because it was like, this is so true, because even at that time I was not sure I wanted to do computer engineering. I was not entirely sure what I was doing. I was not paying attention to class much, and I was just and he told me this, and he's like, if you want to act, if you want to get out there, get into acting, you want to do something else, do it. Don't fail. Make sure you pass. Make sure you have a decent grade. But I don't give up on an opportunity, because if you do not do this now, you will look back and think, I spent 4 years studying for a degree that I was not even sure about.
Hmm.
And I gave up on a lot of other, and we see that with a lot of students, if you really look at it, right?
Fair
Uh,
enough.
if you look at a large group of students in Amrita, you would see a lot of them came in with the sole purpose of getting a good GPA, getting a good job, a placement at the end, and their lives were, who I'm talking about, right? I mean,
Yeah.
general,
Hmm.
yeah, their lives were gotta study, 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 go write that exam, come back, study, study, and it was just. I mean, at that point, it used to be like, oh, look at these lame people, like all
Yeah.
they're doing is sitting, studying, exchanging notes, all that. But now when I look back, I think it's unfortunate, if I had an opportunity to sort of bring them out of that and
Yeah.
bring them out of their shell, I should have done that. And that's probably one of the things that I regret from Amrita years is maybe I wasn't inclusive enough.
Hmm.
I had my group of people. I had my group of people who I thought were cool, or
Yeah.
who I had fun and hanging out with. I would have, if I could go back, the first thing that I would change is probably reach out to a lot more people. And
I think that's like a hit or miss again, right? Because they are also so young. They are also figuring out, right? And you are also figuring out, maybe that's not the best time to do it as well, right? Because I
it's
think
probably not, but
it comes from, because
it comes with
again,
maturity, right?
I think it comes from a little bit of trust as well, right? You got it from Shomir. I'm pretty sure there was some element of trust in the sense that, oh, there must be a reason why he's saying it, right? I mean, if you said it to someone, or like, it wouldn't make so much of a difference, right?
Right.
And so, yeah, I think the larger point is that I think everyone has their style of upbringing at home, right? And I think ours was quite similar to most people's as well, right? You wanting to study, get better, make it in life, but somehow it didn't make sense. And like you said before, right, we took the risk of, let's not do this and see what happens, right? Lesser marks, all right, we'll figure something out, we'll scramble. So I think the biggest thing was that we took risk, and not that we were also, off that point of view.
Yeah, but I want to quickly interject here and say, like we took risk, and not like we were like destined to be successful or
I'm
anything
still
like that.
not.
No, come on, you've achieved a lot. But what I'm trying to say is, like the point is, and I think a big factor in like getting out of that cycle or trying something new constantly is you can't you can't give up when you're down. When you're down on the ground, when you've been knocked down, you
Hmm.
shouldn't give up then, because that's the easiest time to give up and like just move on and do what like is the easy way out. But I think it's at that time that you probably need to you need to persevere, and it's a struggle, man. And to be honest, it was especially the last year of engineering
Hmm.
when finally I realized that okay, acting isn't something I want to pursue long time,
Hmm.
and I realized I want to get a job. But by then my GPA was a bit of a mess. It was
Fair
just like,
enough.
where am I heading? What's my game plan from here?
And
What
yet
am
you
I?
didn't study after that.
I no, but at that point it was pretty much it. This is already down on the ground. Why the fuck should I?
I mean, even if
No,
you
but
got like 10-point GPA, 10-point GPA, it wouldn't make a big difference in your
but
mark.
okay, big huge call out here.
Uh-huh.
The major reason I did study in that last year, and a
Hmm.
major reason for that was we had one of the most brilliant professors that you and I have the opportunity uh, of uh, of talking to, of having a cordial, not I'd say beyond cordial, a very good relationship with someone I look forward to visiting whenever I go back. Raj sir, one of the
As,
most loved, but also for some reason disliked by a large crew of people, but one of the
as
best professors that I've had an opportunity of coming across.
Completely agree. Major shout out, hashtag Ratsa rocks.
Hashtag Raj sir rocks.
I think he was like one of the few people who really changed the way you look at, what does teaching mean. So I said in the beginning that the system didn't care, and probably that's why we failed. I think he cared, and I think that was the biggest difference, right? I remember. I think let's actually talk about Raj sir, because I think his style of teaching, his style of imparting value was so unconventional, and goes back to what you said about was his methods were frowned upon and he got a lot of flack for it.
Yeah.
Was I remember he came like the first class and he said that you don't have any attendance, all of you will pass, you don't have to come if you don't want to, there's not going to be any tests, and if you want to learn something and have fun, sit in the class. And I remember that's the first time when we were given independence to not come to class. And I think throughout the semester, most people, at least 90% of the people, came to class, right?
Absolutely.
And
Nobody
uh,
missed this class.
and one experience I want to say is that I remember it was one class, and we did this class together. I remember you and I did this class together.
Yeah.
And I think it was the third or fourth lecture, and he went and drew 4 images on the blackboard. Right? It was
Yeah.
just a tree, a swing, or something else. Right?
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
he said that, what does this mean? You can use the internet, go to library, form groups, talk, form larger groups, discuss as a whole class. And we did this for like the lecture was like 1 hour, and we did this for like 50 minutes, and everyone's like trying to find out, and then eventually everyone siloed out in their own smaller groups, trying to
Yeah.
figure out what this is. People are trying to look at software. management theory change, or like what those images meant. And then once we presented what we thought, he said that these images don't mean anything, but look at this, what I've done is made you guys think and discuss for the first time in 4 years. And that blew my mind.
Yeah, crazy. I mean, that was probably the first time I came across a professor whose main goal wasn't to make us memorize a paragraph from a textbook, was to actually make us think about what we are doing. He was he was hands down the most forward thinking, and this is why he got a lot of flake, because a lot of people went in expecting he's going to give notes, we're going to know what to study for this exam, we're going to know what to say. This is not how the real world works. And he gave us a first-hand view of what the real world looks like. And I can't thank him enough. That class stays with me. After many years, it still stays with me.
Fair enough, dude. I think for me, my relationship with him kind of went larger because for the Mobile World Congress,
Yeah.
he was like the mentor, and
You were lucky enough
he,
to have him as a mentor as well. But
yeah. And then what extended is that, so after the fourth year, so my job was going to start like few months later. So I got a full scholarship to study entrepreneurship and innovation in Israel, right? And Israel is like in
yeah, I
Tel
remember
Aviv
that.
is like,
Yeah,
and
yeah.
I think it costed me like 2 lakhs or 2.5 lakhs, and the institution in Israel offered me a full scholarship, full ride scholarship. So I only had to take care of my living expenses and my flights, right? Which would, even in the bare minimum expenses, would be 60,000-70,000, right?
Yeah.
My parents said, no, fuck off, right? There's no need for you to go now, because are you going to make a career path from this? What is the immediate gains or like
Right.
tangible gains from this? And I understood them, right? I mean, whatever situation they are in, and I respected that. And I came back and said this to Raj sir. He asked me that, what about that opportunity? And I came back and said this. And out of nowhere, right, he said, I'm going to offer you money, you should go. And that for me was like a professor or teacher going to that extent just shows how much he cares, right? And goes back to the point where we need more people like that, and the system will correct itself.
Yeah. It was just unfortunate that he was the lone wolf who was like that in that entire department.
Mhm.
There were few here
There are a
there.
few here though, like
Yeah.
Shashi sir was good,
Sashi sir
TSB
was
was
good.
good.
TSP, I don't remember
I
TSP.
have a good relationship with Sudarshan sir, TSB.
Yeah, he was good. He was
Yeah,
good. Yeah, but I mean, in the larger part, the bad outweighed the good, and it was just also this, brings us to what our Indian educational system is like. The thing is, why so many people are so emotionally stunted is because we never treat students as adults. They are
hmm,
treated as kids till they graduate their undergrad, and then they're treated as kids again once you go into an entry level job.
fair enough.
Your boss is like this strict teacher who you have to follow every single thing he says. You're treated as kids constantly, and this has long term effects, in my opinion. It creates a very first of all a vicious cycle,
Correct.
because that gives you a reason to act like that once you're in a position of power. And second thing is, people are just emotionally stunted. They don't know how to uh, react to a situation that where they're not being told what to do, or they're thrown out into the unknown.
Fair enough, dude. I think I couldn't agree more. I think I would take it a step further and make it slightly more dramatic, saying that we were probably like, mass produced on a factory floor, and
Yeah, we
I,
are.
I don't think our differences were celebrated or were even given an opportunity to celebrate.
Were frowned upon, if anything.
Yeah,
For
fair
you to be
enough.
different from the crowd was. I remember, because I used to do a lot of drama, a lot of stage acting, and all, right. I used to be
Mhm.
looked at like kind of like a joke when I used to go to the CSC department. Oh, you've come here. What brings you to the department?
Fair enough. But you know what? Good riddance. That when we were graduating, you and I were the ones who were giving the final speech. We were called
Yeah,
upon, like
yeah.
representing computer science, and that was the biggest joke, isn't it? Like we
It
were
was biggest
probably the
joke.
worst in
And
terms
I
of.
think I used that opportunity to roast the CSC department
Oh,
as much as I could.
oh
But
yeah, I think for me, I became like, oh, this is an opportunity to give speech. I started giving out, thank you this, thank you that. We should look at like opportunity to become a problem solver, not an engineer. I think, yeah, you saved the day with your jokes.
your speech
Your roast.
started off, okay, I got to be honest with you. Your speech started off really well,
Mhm.
But it kept going. At one point, it's like, okay, when is Subu going to wrap this up? Is he coming to like a major conclusion? No, but you like kept saying thank you. Then the next person, thank you, and then it just kept. I remember at some point people started clapping, hoping that you would stop.
Hey, bro, no shame.
No, it was good, man. Come on, we were what? We were 21, 21,
Yeah,
20.
yeah.
We had not learned to give like a proper speech or anything then. I
Fair
mean,
enough.
we were doing the best that we could with what we had.
I want that recording, to be honest. Like, them clapping me off.
They did that with me as well. Before I could speak, they would start clapping. And then when I try to speak again, they'd start clapping.
What are some of your good memories from the classes or lectures? Like for me, I think one of the things
Oh,
I
I
remember
got one
was
huge one. I mean, okay, this is the first thing that came to my mind.
uh-huh.
Do you want to go first or?
No, you go first. No, you have
Okay,
something in mind.
this is one of the things that. So okay, there were some teachers who had a bit of a soft corner for me, who would let me get away with a little shit. Okay, so I
Sri Vidya
remember.
ma'am, shout out Sri Vidya ma'am.
Shout out Sri Vidya ma'am. There was this another teacher as well. I forgot her name, but there was this another teacher. She was taking this one class, and I don't even remember which class. That should tell you how much I gave a shit about. I don't remember her name nor the class, but I had. So how much was our attendance? 80%, right?
Yeah,
Or
80%.
80% or so. So I had already missed a few classes, and I had like a few of those slips that you get when you go for practice or any of that shit.
OD.
OD, yeah, I had OD. But I couldn't miss any other class. Okay. Turns out there was a class then, and I was sitting in the hostel. So someone in the class messaged me.
Okay.
Send an SMS to me like, you gotta come right now, otherwise you're gonna fail this class. And the class was how long? Was 1 hour or
1 hour or so? Yeah.
1 hour 20 minutes or something like that, right? This was 40 minutes into the class. I come running to the door, and I'm standing there. I'm like, oh, ma'am, I'm here for the class. She's like, who SMS'd you? Tell me that first. And I was like, no one, ma'am. I was doing this, I was doing that, and I knew I had to come here, which is why I'm late. I'm really sorry. And I'm panting. Okay, I've ran up like three flights of stairs. I've ran across the entire courtyard from the hostel to the university, and I'm just like, oh, ma'am, please, I need to, please let me enter. And she looked at me for a good 1 minute. She's just like,
and they know they hold the cards. Yeah, they know it. They know it as well.
They know. But you had to be very humble.
Yeah.
You can't be arrogant at that time, and you got to just come in and say, ma'am, please, like I really need this. She let me in, and thank God she did, because if she hadn't, the first job of mine would have gone out the window.
Nice, amazing, dude. Like
tell
for me,
me one of yours.
So I think it was some computer, like I think computer architecture, some subject which is not like it's a very theory based subject and pretty advanced. I'm not understanding anything in the subject, so I was sitting with Anish and I was doing my own thing because I was not getting it, and I'm just sitting there for attendance. So I was like looking out of the window or whatever, and the teacher didn't mind, right? Because I'm not disturbing or whatever. After some point, Anish got bored and we started talking, whatever, and then I think she got distracted. She called me and she's like, "Do you know this?" She points to the board and did you know what's happening? And I'm standing now on my in my bench. I'm like, what do I say? It's a very tricky situation. If I say yes, she'll ask me to explain. If I say no, then it's like, she can easily ridicule me here and ask me to get out or whatever, right? So it's a very tricky situation. And then I'm like, let's not take the risk. What if she asks me to explain? Then I can't bullshit. So I said genuinely no, right? So the thing is that when you say no, my expected reaction is she probably get angry, ask me to get out, or just sit down. So the question she asked me was, do you understand this? And I said no. And her reply was that you will not understand also. Oh my God. That was a cold.
What a burn, huh?
Burn, major burn.
Oh, I have one similar story just like of me standing up. Okay, this is probably the most embarrassing moment of my one of my most embarrassing moments in class. So I was sitting next to Sham, and Jashwant was on the other side. So it's two seats at once, right? Two seats, and then you have two seats on the other side. So it was Sham and I, and it was Jashwant on the other side with Dwarkesh. And so some class is going on. Me and Sham are fucking around trying to get Rekha to give us her lunch or something like that. and the teacher asked something, all right? She asks me specifically something. She sees me like talking and doing shit. So I don't remember what the question was, but I'll tell you, I'll give you an example of a question. I don't remember what the question was. It was like, what is, where is the North Pole? All right. So you say the North on top of the globe.
Yeah.
It's a word answer. It's a theoretical answer.
Yeah.
So she had already asked the question, and I didn't know what she had asked. She said, "Okay, Gautam, stand up and answer." I stood up. Jashwant on my side, he's like 24, 24. And I said 24. And she's looking confused as fuck. What the fuck am I saying? And everyone else bursts out laughing. Jashwant's losing his mind on this side.
Oh man.
And then she repeated the question to me. And I knew the answer. It was a simple theoretical answer, but it was the stupidest, most embarrassing moment. But kudos to Jashwant. Huh? I mean, he got me really
good fun.
on that
Good
one.
fun.
He got me really good on that one.
Oh, that's good. That's very good.
But okay, quickly. So now that we've talked about some really good experiences that we've had with our engineering time, I want to quickly touch upon what your idea of success was during engineering or during that phase versus what your idea of success is now.
Oh man, this has changed so much. My idea of success was that get like a sexy job, like some Microsoft or Facebook.
What Ban has
like,
now.
Yeah, what Ban has now, right? Ban has been my. He stepped in for me all throughout his life, even doing it now also. But yeah, I think it was just like get like a sexy job, good pay. Yeah, that's about it. And then have fun in work, and you'll have money. And yeah, I think that was my idea of success. Nothing more, right? And on a personal level, yeah, maybe I should be cooler, make some cool friends, go on trips, and yeah, I think it's very run down the mill things. But now I think idea of success, I don't have a concept of success, to be honest, right? For me right now, I've gone through some really good, really tough, and like very questioning experiences.
Yeah.
For me, I think right now, if you were to define success, I would simply say the ability to create value and getting better at it. That's it. I wouldn't go too much about it. I know money is a good aspect. I would love to have money, but again, money takes a secondary seat, right? Because having that whole I want to be successful mindset didn't get me anywhere. So I want to I'm trying to consciously get out of my system, right?
Yeah.
I mean, I'm not saying money is not important. I think money is important, and I want to have money, but that is like a causality of what I do in terms of creating value, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, I think, and another thing that I felt was when you chase success, there are other elements, people or institutions. I think there is no metric for happiness in there, and I'm just trying to build that, man. If you do
Absolutely.
something, I think for me, I'm really chasing happiness, more building conscious models, or models is like a fancy word, like conscious steps to make sure I have some peace of mind and happiness. I'm done with the stage where I'm doing this for success, or this will pay out me in the future. Fuck that.
I couldn't agree more with you with that concept of building an index of happiness as our definition of success. Because just to quickly answer this question myself, my idea of success was very similar to yours when I first got in. Have some sexy job, earn a shitload of money, and just be a boss man.
Yeah, just quickly say this because I remember you saying this to me, that I think it was good also. I think you said this to me sometime in college, that you want to have or afford a lifestyle at least as much as your family or your dad gives you guys, if not better it, right?
Yeah. I remember saying that, and I remember that for the longest time, that was my criteria or my measurement of success, was because my dad's done well for himself, and he came from
absolutely.
He came from a place of he had to work for it. He didn't he didn't have someone like I have him. He didn't have someone like that to like put him through, give him this opportunity to say come to Spain and do
Correct.
MBA and all of that. He didn't have that. He had to build everything for himself. And for that, how far he's come, I think that's extremely commendable. And for the longest time, I thought that was going to be my criteria for success as well.
Mm-hmm.
But now that I've had some more time to reflect, and I've gone through 5-6 years of work, and now I've gone through this experience, I think that's a good life. And I definitely some aspect of my future, I definitely want financial security.
Mm-hmm.
But more importantly, right, I want to be able to be at peace with myself. That would be success for me. And why I'm saying
Fair
this
enough.
is, for the longest time, especially over the last 2-3 years, man, I struggled a lot with when I quit my job. I was depressed, and I was
Mm-hmm.
just so unhappy with life. I was just like figuring out, like, this is so aimless. I'm just doing one thing after the other mechanically. And I wanted to reach, and I really for a long time I was in a, and like we all have been, I don't want to like
Correct.
just say it's just me. Like, I'm sure you, and we've
Mm-hmm.
talked about this as well. We have both gone through our phases of depression and
Yeah.
phases of being just like so down on it, like just unable to see like the light at the end of the tunnel. But I want to reach a stage where my happiness is not defined by money alone,
Mm-hmm.
but is defined by like you said, the value that I can bring to the people around me, and hopefully to a larger strata of people that I can affect. In fact, I would call myself successful at the end of my life if I've left like a legacy that people can look to as an example. And
Oh, that's ambitious, bro. That's ambitious.
I mean, yeah, super ambitious, but again, like, I want to clarify, it doesn't have to be. It doesn't mean I have to be Mahatma Gandhi. People look up to. My legacy could be restricted to, say, my children alone, and if they
Mhm.
use my example to live a better life, I think that itself is going to be what I would call myself successful. If that.
So I think when you said that, right, I think I will probably add something to what I said as well. That just taking the point from what you said about your kids possibly taking something from your life. I think I want to build systems, or like I would measure success in terms of what I wished I had in my childhood. Like just go have fun and like have more interactions with people around me and invest in time more than experiences and like buying things or like measuring how like I think measuring success would be a measure of how well you can spend time with the people you spend the most time with, if that I said it right.
Yeah, I get what you're saying. How valuable, what value are you adding to other people's time and lives? And
Correct.
I think that's at the end of it, that is success. If you've positively affected a person's life, I mean, it can be a small insignificant thing that you do, but if it has made a positive effect on someone's life, I think that should be like the ultimate goal of life, right? That you accumulate enough small insignificant things that you do that
Mm.
eventually leave a larger effect than you could have thought of. And let's face it, man, we are insignificant when it comes to the general human race itself. We are bound to be forgotten, insignificant, for most likely, given the size of our populace.
Correct.
But that does not mean that we cannot leave something behind that, however small, affects our society or the people around us positively. So I think that would be my criteria for success. But yeah, I mean, you know
I
what,
hope
this is what we think, this is
I
what we
hope.
think right now.
Was that
This is what we
fair enough?
think right now,
Yeah,
right?
it'll change probably in 10 years. Who knows?
Like 10 years back, ours was to get a sexy job and have a Tesla
Yeah.
and have a big ass house. Oh, I swear to God, I wanted a big ass house, big
I
ass
all
car.
even I want a house now, like nice house.
I still want it. Yeah, what
I
am I
maybe
saying?
don't want like a sexy car, but I want a nice house.
Yeah, but like right now, I wouldn't be like upset if I did not have it.
Fair enough. Agree. That's a good way of putting it.
But yeah, so we'll see.
But
We'll talk
but
about
but
this in
but yeah,
10
having a
years.
pool in the house doesn't
It's not a bad
bad,
way to
yeah.
go. Okay, so now that
Cool.
we've talked about let's go back to say graduation and then the first job that we have alluded to a few times in the
Ooh.
last almost an hour, I think. But yeah, let's talk about our first job, man. So both of us got placed in the same analytics company. One of the first few to get placed, and then we did nothing for the rest of the year.
Oh,
Absolutely,
yeah, I
just
went to Spain, bro. I won some competitions.
oh, my bad. You were successful. I was a loser sitting in the hostel. But it was, yeah. But once we got through that and got our first jobs, let's talk about our experience at our first job. And we both had very very different experiences there as well,
Ooh, yeah.
right?
Spicy.
So spicy. It's
Let's
spicy.
let's get them out. Let's get them out, baby.
So okay, let's talk about first the common aspect of that first job. So both of us got into this analytics company based out of Bangalore,
Hmm.
really big at that time,
Promising as well.
very promising, very sought after. Everyone wanted to get in there, and we had a bunch of our friends get in as well. Vivek was there. You were there. I were there. There were a bunch of other people from our
Yeah.
university,
Hmm.
and we made a bunch of friends. So they had this training period, the first 2 months, 3 months, if I'm correct,
Hmm.
where they had this internal university that we went through different things that we needed to know.
Hmm.
And that was probably the most fun time that was there. And no, actually, I had fun in my account as well, but that was one of the more carefree times that we had in that.
Oh, yeah, that was like an extension of college, right? For
That
me,
was an
even
extension of college. And it
I
helped
don't,
that everyone was so young.
fair enough. Yeah.
But yeah, that was probably like one of the better times, and especially getting to know all the people from different universities. And we had minimal interaction with other universities coming from Amrita.
True. I think even in the company, right? You and I were spending so much time together. So like it's just people joining a group and that group kind of going bigger and bigger.
Yeah, we had a really interesting group that we built that was
Fair,
constantly evolving.
fair enough.
Do
I
you
think it's
remember?
more it's more to do with you, dude. Like you as a person, right? You somehow managed to attract a lot of people and through you. Oh, you're friends with Gautam. How do you know him? Oh, okay, then you become my friend also.
But I wanna quickly before we talk more, I wanna talk about the prank that we pulled on you during the.
Oh my, damn.
So okay, so during the training period, we had like a.
Shweta, middle finger right here.
So we had classes and we had to come. There was not attendance per se, but it was frowned upon if you didn't turn up. And Subu here had a tendency to take a few days off where he could catch up on his sleep, and he chose one such day to like skip a session or something and just like get a siesta at home. But turns out the session was cancelled that day, so we didn't even have a session. We were all just chilling, having coffee in the cafeteria. We have a really good mutual friend called Shweta, and I convinced Shweta to give Subu a call and say, "I'm calling you from the HR department, and we've noticed you haven't come in, and you yesterday also you left early. So this behavior is completely unacceptable, and we cannot have someone like this." And we had Subu on the loudspeaker, and Subu was like, "I am so sorry. I was sick. I will not. I will. In fact, if you want me to come right
I'll
now."
come right now.
I was dying. I had a bunch of other people around as well because why not?
And she pulled
Everyone
it off very good.
she pulled it off so well. She killed it. Like she was strict. She did not break a single time. She
abs-
kept. Yeah,
did
she
I
was
did I end up
fantastic.
coming to
No, no,
office that
we
day?
we told you, man. I didn't want you to come all the way, and then So we told you. I got on the call, I think, and I said, "Hey, dude, just a prank or something." But that was, oh my god, that was a
Oh,
beautiful, beautiful memory that I
man.
have from.
Seriously, oh, good one. Like at that time, it wasn't good, but yeah, now that you
No,
look back, it's
yeah,
brilliant.
obviously it must have been a pain in the ass then, but like I'm sure it's a good story to tell. Huh? No.
Fair enough. I think I didn't have like too much motivation, right? Like I said, it was an extension of college, and my college was just like, if I don't have to go, I will not go, right? And that kind of carried on, and man, you got genius move, good move. Credit to you guys, good stuff.
But okay, let me actually, now that we're touching about, let's talk about your experience in Musicma first. Okay. Again, let's talk about your experience in the analytics company first. One that should not be named. And
Oh.
tell me, tell me, tell me how how that went, and what do you think? What do you think about your time there?
Um, I think when we got in, right, the way we got in, like 24 hours straight interview. I mean, it was not that long, but like 24-hour process. It meant a lot, right, to get into that. And I think for you and me, especially because that was the only company we were
That was the only
eligible to
option we
apply
had.
for. Yeah,
Yeah.
eligible to apply for, right? And our supplementary exam results hadn't come, so we were like kind of like in the border, right? So there was no hope for us after this. So just to be in that position where this is your one shot and you kind of go and nail it. um, I actually have like an interesting experience because our senior Nandini also pulled a prank on me during the interview process, right? Because they were calling batch by batch, and one batch was getting rejected, the other batch was getting out for being called for interview,
Uh-huh.
and Nandini was the one calling out the people who were getting rejected, and some other guy was
Oh
doing
my
calling
God.
the people, and then she suddenly comes and calls like a bunch of names, and she calls my name, and I'm like, fuck, right? Is this it? And this is after going through like 4 rounds, like 2:30, 3 a.m. in the night or whatever. You remember that night, no?
Yeah, of course.
3 a.m. in the night, Nandini comes and like, sorry guys, this has got to be it. I feel really bad for you all. And I remember saying, shit, man, that sucks. And she said, I'm just kidding, guys. Go for your interview. And I think the start was good, right? Like having such a good fun in the interview process. And I remember I was like so nervous during the interview process. And I think I've told you this, that in my final interview, I didn't have a final interview. That guy brought me Coke and, like, let's chill out. Do you remember that?
It wasn't like
Um,
that for me, but yeah, I remember you
yeah.
were saying.
So he bought me Coke and he's like, I just want to get to know you, man. Don't worry. Are you nervous? And like, are you sweating? And then we were like drinking Coke for like good 10 minutes and then talking, and then a question never came. He just passed me on to the next final, like, whatever, like a director round or whatever. So good experience in the interview, although it was like taxing. So I was like really looking forward to it. And like you said, right, very promising company and all of that. So yeah, I think I was really looking forward to it, and I wanted to get into analytics. So yeah, I think I put like I sort of wanted to make that my career path. But then I once I got into the company, things didn't work out for me. I think the it was just like another extension of the college, right? I
Right.
think
Do you think it was because of your the team that you were in?
I think generally across the company, I've seen, it's not just my experience, right? I probably had like the most dramatic experience, but I think generally across, if you kind of like underscore where the line is in terms of
Because
why
if
people leave
yeah,
the company, I think it's just
the
because they don't.
company trend, because I want to quickly like interject here,
Mhm,
is that I left for a very similar reason, because at some point it just wasn't, it just felt too it was just closing in on me, it was just like this, the initial sheen had worn off,
mhm.
and it was just this, you could see it for what it was, which was just a factory of people sitting and working as like mindless robots till you
Fair enough.
churn out piece after piece of information, and you slog your ass off, and you get paid a chunk, not even a chunk, sorry, you get paid a fraction of what you should be for the work you're producing. But I
Absolutely,
think
right?
what perhaps helped me stick on much longer was I was surrounded by really amazing people in the team
Fair
that I
enough.
was.
I didn't like my team. That's why.
Yeah, no, and you know
Mhm,
what? I don't blame you, because at least from now where I stand now, at that time, if I'm completely honest, at that time I thought you were making a stupid mistake. I thought
I
you were
know.
just being, I thought you were, and I think we talked about this as well. We would come over to your house and we would be
Mhm.
like, "What the fuck are you doing?" Like,
Yeah, I remember something you asked me at that point of time. I didn't think it was serious,
uh,
right? I know that I didn't have another job in hand, right? So, I mean, looking back at it, I could have like, listened to my parents and slotted it out, and it should have worked very well, right? But then, when there is someone who's like, telling you that you are a fresher, you will do what I tell you to do. I'm like, dude, I get it. The other people you might be hiring must be looking at you as a company that will help them, but I come with some credibility, right?
no,
I had
absolutely.
that with me, right? I mean, some credibility. I would also go on and say that probably slightly more than the others, right? And I wanted to use that and leapfrog from here, right? And I didn't want to do what they were doing, so I said, in the interest of both you and me, let put me in a team where it'll work out. And then you kind of hear this, and then it went to borderline harassment and all of that. So
Yeah,
at the
no,
end,
absolutely.
even the exit when I did place the interview, I'm going to make sure that you don't get a job anywhere. Who the fuck do you
Yeah,
think
yeah.
you are? You're
I
fucking
mean,
loser. I'm like, fuck this. They just made my decision easier on me, right? But
I
going back to what you're saying, sorry, dude, let me just finish this.
yeah, yeah, sure, sure.
I think what you said about us talking this over, you said something very important, because I didn't have another job lined up, and there was a vacuum of I don't know what I'm going to do. And you asked me this, Subur, you sure about this decision? And take this decision only if you think you will not be depressed by not having a job. And at that point I thought, okay, you know what, I'll get over it and all of that. But at a long point, like next 2 3 years, this thought came up back in again and again and again, that um like you said, people thought that I made a mistake, but then for me, I was looking at it from a point of view where if I don't stand up for myself, who nobody is going to. And then standing up for myself became such a hard way to uh, it came at a big cost, right? But yeah, in hindsight, I would do it again.
Yeah, absolutely. And if I were you, so I don't know. I probably wasn't uh, brave enough to take that decision at that time, because I was still
Hmm.
too scared about, like, got to keep a job, got to persevere through. But now that I think about it, right, my point of view at that time was slightly flawed,
Hmm.
because I was thinking from perspective of what it would look like on a piece of paper, which is your resume,
Yeah.
versus I was not really thinking about of what it would be like to actually go through something like that as a person, as
Hmm.
a human. And now, from where I stand now, after going through something like that myself more than once, I've come to the conclusion that it's the people. I mean, if you cannot work with the people who are around you, it's not the work. At the end of the day, the work gets done. Work will get done. You can look around, you can and man, 90% of people Google. At the end of the day, the work would get done. But if the people
Correct.
around you aren't people who are helping you progress, or are creating a hostile environment for you, get the fuck out. That's the best you can do at that time, is get them for their betterment and your betterment. Get the
Yeah.
fuck out.
So for me, it worked out very, like not very well, but like, for me, it was just like, 5 months into the job, with nothing else planned. I'm like, what, still 22. Taking that decision, it was like a huge decision that I took. But I'm actually like looking back, very proud that I did take that, and I had the courage to do it. Like, yeah, some decision. I think, like, if you want to extend that point, right? What I noticed was that it's not a company that, or like, these kinds of companies are not the one where you are contributing to, but they see it as the company is doing you a favor. And I think I will never join a company like that again.
Oh my
Never.
God, I cannot agree more. And you don't need to look further than their recent decisions to see how that thought has stuck and become like their core principle now, that they are doing you a favor. Man, you've read about what their practices have been recently, right?
No, I'm not aware. Let's
Oh,
take it up after this call, but I would love to know it.
no, let's take it up during the call. I mean, it's out there in public domain. There's no reason we shouldn't be discussing it. In
Okay,
fact,
I am all yours.
all right, but let's before we get into that, I want to talk about generally my experience there as well.
Oh yeah, please.
And I had a very similar. Luckily, my experience there was much more was softened and
Hmm.
sweetened by the fact that I had an amazing. I met. I can tell you, I met a bunch of amazing people, and there are
Hmm.
three people here I definitely want to call out.
Hmm.
Uh, out of which two of them I'm in like a regular touch with. We have our own WhatsApp group, and we are constantly chatting every few days. First one was Akhil Timea. He
Hmm.
was my he was my team lead,
Okay.
and I can tell you, man, if there is one person who I will follow to the end of the world, it's probably him, because he was probably the best team lead you could have got as a fresher. Very, 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 very personable, very soft spoken, but
Hmm.
very work driven. Like, he would not yell, he would not, like, if you fuck up, he would not like screw your case, but he would sit there and ensure that you fix the mistake. And you do
Hmm.
it in a very soft but assertive way, which meant you wanted to work, and I got to tell you, I learned a lot from him in general, just how to carry yourself as a person,
Hmm.
because it was one of the best experiences. The second
That
was
is nice, though.
Venushri.
It's very hard. It's very hard to get that, though.
It's
I'm
very
glad
hard to
that you
get that.
did.
And I think it was just his innate nature. I don't think it was something that he had to work on.
Mm-hmm.
Second one was Venushri, and Venushri is a ball of a time. Okay, she's sort of like me. I kind of see she's like a female version of me, but a little more sorted out in the head.
Mhm.
because she used to get her shit done, but she used to have
Uh-huh.
fun also. She used to be the person that we used to like goof around so much. I remember
That's
this one
nice.
time I had
Mhm.
this one sweater, okay, which would zip up all the way. When I
Yeah.
say all the way, it would even cover my face
Mhm.
completely. So I I zipped that up and then I tapped her in the back. And
Uh-huh.
I had been annoying her the whole day. So she turned around, she saw me completely zipped up.
Uh-huh.
She held that hoodie, and for the next 5 minutes, she delivered a beating that I won't forget.
Oh, is this the girl who put put the helmet on you and
Yeah, that's what. That's what but
Oh, nice.
what an absolute champion she was, and I truly enjoyed. But to coming to why I decided to quit music, now was, man, I had a great experience with these guys, but I had a horrible experience with my on-site,
Mm-hmm.
and to the point that he almost made me cry one day. He called me up middle of the night, like this was
Mm-hmm.
just before my vacation. He called me up middle of the night, and I had made a mistake. Okay, fair
Mm-hmm.
enough. I had made one script error, which meant
Mm-hmm.
that the output we got in the Excel I finally passed on
Mm-hmm.
was wrong.
Mm-hmm.
But he called me up at like 4 a.m. or something, just started yelling at me, and I'm waking up 4 a.m. Someone's yelling. My mind's not working, and I had to go. I was going on a bike ride to Kerala
Mm-hmm.
that day, and this was like a key moment for me to decide that this company is not for me, because there was no apology for that. I made a mistake, and I sat up and I fixed it.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, I couldn't fix it completely, but I sent along the files to Akhil and my other teammate, and they took care of the rest of it for me, and I apologized for that, and I made up for it. But it was a genuine mistake, man. I was very young into the team at that time, and I had little experience.
It's
But
still like it's still, even if you made like a big mistake, it doesn't warrant that behavior, right?
no, but he didn't stop then, dude. It was not just that call. He sent a nasty email during the week when I was on vacation,
Fuck
and
my life.
no, I couldn't. I didn't have a single day of peace of mind when I was on vacation. I had taken 5 days off, so pretty much I had the entire week.
Mm-hmm.
When I came back, I got on a call with him, and I had been thinking about this the whole week. And I just told him, this kind of ruined my whole vacation because this is the only thing I was thinking about. And I think I made a mistake, but you reacted in a way that doesn't make me feel good, And I accept my mistake, and I'll make sure it doesn't happen again. But the way you reacted truly put me in a very, really put me down, and it was a tough. It was something tough for me to go through over the last week. He
Mm-hmm.
apologized and all that, but like at that time the damage is done, right? And at
Correct.
that time I knew I had to move on. And I don't know if you remember, it was at
Mm-hmm.
that time I decided, like, fuck it, I want to jump into startups. I want to work with startups. I made a video resume. I don't know if you've seen
I've
that.
seen it. I've seen it. Yeah, I've seen that.
Yeah, so I decided, okay, I took a good friend of mine from office called Suhas. We went over the weekend, took a bike ride to Nandi Hills. Looking
Mhm.
back, it was super lame. Okay, that resume was super fucking lame.
Oh,
But
dude, even I have like a video resume on YouTube. Very, very. I think you laugh on it,
yeah, bro,
but
you laugh at mine too. Like, but at that time, it was just I was like, I've always thought of myself as a bit of a creative person, so I wanted to find a way to express myself in
and be different, right?
more than just a piece of paper, man.
Yeah.
Something I keep coming back to. It's just more than a piece of paper. But it might have it. I mean, it might be lame now, but at that time, it worked like a fucking charm, dude. I made that resume. I
Mm-hmm.
sent it along to Fresh Menu, and
Mm-hmm.
Fresh Menu was like one of the like
Yeah.
really fast growing startups at that time.
Correct.
I got a call the same night from the HR lady. She's like, "Come in tomorrow. We want to talk to you."
Oh.
And I think they had a ball of a time laughing at my video. Just want to see who's this idiot who sent this video for for, for a job interview. But I knew then, and I thought about it a long time. My dad was also telling me at that time, "Are
Mm.
you sure this is a corporate? It's well known, US based, and all that. You want to leave this for like some small
Yeah.
company?" And but looking back, I wouldn't do a single thing differently. I'm glad I took that leap because that just I think changed my life.
I think moving on from there to like a completely different environment does put you in again going back to stepping out of comfort zone, right? And you know that these guys probably expect more, so much more from you. Yeah, I think you had so much fun there as well.
In Freshmanu,
Yeah.
yeah, Freshmanu was a ball of a time. And a big shout out to Rashmi.
Mm-hmm.
She founder of Freshmanu and
Mm-hmm.
the CEO. And to date, the best CEO I've worked with. Mostly because uh, she was not like not afraid of calling out people if they didn't do shit.
Mm-hmm.
And that's what you need, honestly.
Correct.
Like, but she was not afraid of being seen as a little rude if it meant that she got the work done. Because let's face it, she had investors who were,
Correct.
on her head. She had to deliver results, and but also the people who worked and delivered results. She was amazing. We had a great time. We had a good rapport, and she gave me a lot of opportunity. I went on as a business analyst, but man,
Mhm.
she let me do whatever the hell I wanted to do. I wanted to get into
That is
marketing.
nice.
I wanted to go on ground, do marketing campaigns on ground. I
Hmm.
remember I spent 2 days in a conference
Uh-huh.
pitching fresh menu because, like I said, I want to do it. She came the first day. She thought I was doing a good job. She let me stay for the rest 2 days. I
Uh-huh.
think I think it's just that being given that opportunity and like by someone who lets you go outside your comfort zone and lets you try things that you probably don't have experience in. I truly
Correct.
appreciate that to this day.
Absolutely, man. I think I have a very good experience in startup as well. Like, once I moved on from here, I built like my own thing. And I remember, like, we built like a app for the Indian Super League, and then that worked out. And
Yeah, yeah, I
we
remember
had
that.
like,
Yeah,
we had like
you did really
15,000
well. Yeah,
downloads and all of that. And then we got like a legal notice from Reliance, who owns the league, and we had to shut it down, right? Because we don't want that in like legal fight or whatever. So after that, I got into InMobi, and again, video resume worked like a charm. I think at that point, these things were kind of like different, right? And it worked like a charm. And I did not work so closely with the founder, because that was like a $2 billion company, very huge, right? More than like
yeah,
2,000
yeah.
employees, whatever. But the team that I was working with was building Inmobi's like first consumer app, right? Because everything else was advertisement, ad tech, and all of that. Like, it was on the background. So we got a chance to work with the founder, Naveen Tiwari. Very, very nice. I think that is by far the best founder I've seen, right?
Mhm.
I think what you said about Rashmi in terms of if things don't go well, she has no, like, she doesn't mind calling it out. But this guy would go beyond that level. And even if things don't go well, he will keep us calm, make you just understand that, what you have done, right? So I remember we worked on the app for like 6 months, and then he didn't like it, right? He said, what the fuck is this, right? Like,
Mhm.
in a nicer tone, but like, what the fuck is this, right? This is absolute crap. But then he didn't question any of us, right? In fact, he switched on the dialogue from, you are making an app for InMobi, to, you have the chance to make an app that will be used by millions of people, because that is the reach that we have.
Right,
So
right.
do you want to take that up or not take that up?
Oh,
And I
brilliant
thought,
way to put it.
and I think that was like, and this is the point of maximum failure, right? 6 months, no output, right? There was some output, but that was crap, right? And that was probably for whatever reasons, right? I'll not go into it. And at that point, for this guy to come in, and that is the point when Inmobi was going down, and was not getting money. They were getting investments, but or they had like investment offers, but at a devalued rate. So they didn't take those investments, because you don't want to devalue the company, etc. And they were probably having just 2 months or 3 months of runway with them. So Naveen was focusing on building the main business profitable as well. So it's a huge pressure, right? When you have 2,000 employees and you have runway for 3 months. And
Right.
from that point, for him to come on and say it in this way, and like, I was only 23 years old, right? He was like a, owner of a $2 billion company, and him coming and talking to me one on one, I appreciate it so much. And never at any point has he said that, you guys should do this or do that. It was about that, you have the opportunity, what will you do? It was always that equation, never directive. He never directed in terms of, okay, will, not even like in, will you try this or will you try that? Keep changing the problem statements differently until we see what he wants us to see. And I
Right.
thought that was like, fuck, man, what is this guy? Fast forward to a few more months, right? Fast forward to a few more months, we spent another few months, like 3 months. We built something nice, but we still are like, at square one, probably, not something useful. And Inmobi was like 1 month, they had like 1 month runway. They had to either shut the company, and Microsoft offered to buy them for $2 billion.
Uh-huh.
At least that was the rumor going around. It was reported on your story or like a lot of places, right? And that's a crazy amount of pressure, right? And so Inmobi as a company decided that they're going to stop all the unnecessary things, or like non-core things which will help them make profitable. And he called the whole company out. And this is the difference I see from a good organization versus the, the organization where we were at. You remember the town hall, what he did, right?
Yeah,
Founder
yeah.
did there. So this guy on a town hall said that we have an offer from, let's say, Microsoft, and for him, he will make tons of money, right, selling it to Microsoft, and Microsoft is big in ads or whatever.
Absolutely, man. He wouldn't have to work a
And
single day.
I remember Satya Nadella came to our offices in Bangalore, and to talk to him about this, like, investment. I don't know. I think I've seen this discussion, and he came to the company and said that, hey, you know what? I know that if I sell this, we might not be able to make this vision. We are against the wall. We need to work. We're gonna cut down every possible expenditure that is not absolutely required. Think about this as a family that doesn't have food to eat the next month. How hard will you all work? I'm not going to fire any of you as cost cutting measure, but I want you to put that perspective. If you don't think that this is what is needed, you can leave and we will part ways amicably. But if you want to stay, we will have to do so much more. And from that point on to the next 1 year, I was still with the company. We turned profitable. We did not take that, Inmobi did not take that investment, and yet became profitable. And for us, with coming back to this, it's the same situation. Coming back to our team, he had to scrap that team because they were supposed to, cut costs where it's not necessary, right? And we spent like 9 months trying to build this with, to be honest, at the from an objective point of view, no output. And it was very hard for us, but it was very hard for him also, because he had to convince the other founders that this is what is going to drive the business in the future. And this took like significant investment, right? The team and resources, etc. And he shut it down, but he shut it down in such a nice fashion. He came personally, right? He did not tell the manager or whatever and ask him to do whatever. He came and spoke to each of us, saying that I know how much you wanted this, I know how much you guys have worked for it, and although we do not have an output, I'm going to put you in any team that you want, and if there's an opening, and we will keep you in the Inmobi family, right? We will take care of you. And that night he was flying to US for some major something, okay, some review, or maybe the discussion with Mike, I don't know what it was. His flight was like a few hours away, and he took us all to a bar, and we drank with him one on one, having chill, getting drunk with this guy, like
Uh-huh.
smashed with this guy. And I think for me, it's a first company to second company, like, it was like a huge difference. And I think this experience solidifies like what I take away from, this is what a leader should be, right? And this is what a company should be, right? Because you spend so much time in work, and if the company doesn't care about you, then why the fuck are you caring about the
You're
company?
yeah, you're only as good as the people who you work with.
And
As a startup, I think that's a major thing that I've learned. You're only as good. Invest in good people.
correct. So yeah, this completely changed my mind of work. What does, let's say, career mean? What does, let's say, leadership or management means? And I mean, my opinions have changed from here on. After now, I've started something on my own, but it's building on top of this. But like, very, very, very grateful for that experience. There were
Yeah,
obviously bad
absolutely.
parts of it, obviously, but that's going to be then everywhere, right?
That's going to be everywhere. But you know what? Like now that we've talked about the good, I want to quickly talk about, not quickly, but at least touch upon the toxic work culture that's been not just manifesting. It's been there for years in India,
Mm-hmm.
and it just sort of it's this uh, ugly monster that we've all experienced. And I want to talk a little bit about like what I've seen and what I think is what
Mm-hmm.
absolutely needs to change. In any, it's not just startup culture, it
Mm-hmm.
needs to change across the board, a mindset of how we treat people. For us in India, people are expendable is what I think. People don't look at another person as a person, but as a
Correct. Couldn't agree more.
resource that needs to be squeezed for as much juice as you can, and then discarded aside for the next person that you can you can manipulate or overutilize. The what I've seen, right?
Mm-hmm.
There are two things that I think are. I'm going to talk in context of Indian startups specifically,
Mm-hmm.
because that's the only most of the context where my work experience comes from.
Correct.
Two things that I think they chase, which is completely wrong. First things first. there is they're constantly chasing the next month's numbers,
Yeah.
or chasing an immediate quick win.
Mm-hmm.
Which is, in my opinion, which I thought for the longest time as well, is what I did also, was part of
Mm-hmm.
my job, was figure out, okay, how are we going to hit that next target next? How are we going to hit that next target next? But it has to be the worst thing that a startup can do, is to decide, okay, I just need to worry about how I'm going to look the next man, and I'll worry about the rest later. But the second thing is also like not investing in good people and treating people like shit. Like
Yeah.
that, I can't tell you, man. It's just it drains a person. And I was very cynical for the longest time,
Mm-hmm.
because of just having gone through that cycle with a few startups.
Mm-hmm.
Just became like, like, this is just how it works. It's just an unfortunate, and it's something that truly needs to change. We need more bosses like yours in InMobi. We need
Mm-hmm.
more people like that who invest in people versus investing in resources per se.
Correct.
I
Yeah.
wanna ask you, like, okay, you know what? Quickly, you wanna
Mhm.
take a small break, get a coffee, and before we move on to the last bit of.
I think I'm good. I'm good.
I'm,
I
okay, I need a small break. I want to get
Then
a
take
coffee.
no.
I'm asking. No, you be nice and say yeah. Okay, I'm gonna wait. Hold on. I'm pausing the recording, and we'll come back in.
Just let the recording run. No,
No, but I need to go fill up a coffee. What, you talk to yourself? Huh?
just go.
All
I'm
of
just
this
saying.
is recording, by the way.
You have to edit it out. So I'm just saying
I'm
why
not
stop
editing
it.
shit out. I'm going to keep everything in.
Okay, cool.
Okay, so I'm
All
going
right.
to pause the recording. I'll
Okay,
be back.
cool.
Okay, we're back. All right, Subu. I got myself a cup of coffee, and we had a good chat, man. We talked about some really serious shit. Made me think.
Explosive stuff, man. Explosive.
Explosive stuff. Made me think about a lot of good times and bad times. But you know
So you
what? I
know
want to.
what will happen is, let's say this whole paradigm shifts like in 10, 20 years from now, we will be like, the like good content for protesters 20 years from now. I'm telling you.
Yeah, for sure. Let's see. Most likely, what's going to happen is we'll have 5 people who listen to this, not even all the way through.
Fair enough.
But I mean, okay. But it's been a blast, man, talking about all
Yeah.
this.
Good shit.
But
Good shit.
but okay, now you know what. Now I wanna focus on, and part of like what the one initial motivation for this podcast as well. I want to talk about all the normal people that we have met, man. No, and by normal I mean you and me, and
Yeah.
all the people around us who've had a positive effect on our lives and what we've taken away from it. And just like I want to just use this the final part of our podcast to just call out these amazing people that we've had a chance to be a part of. I mean, who we've had a chance to have in our lives, and just like
Champions in our lives.
these champions of our lives, and just talk about maybe a few nice things about these guys.
Let's do
So
this.
I wanna start off with Varun. Obviously, the biggest common denominator between you and I,
Yeah.
Varun Raju, one of the most fun guys I've met, and I'm very happy to call a really, really close friend of mine.
He's a bro.
He's a bro.
Family.
We're no longer friends. We're all bros now. It doesn't. I mean, it's beyond that. So I want to start. I want to give you a little background about
Cool.
me and Varun. And man, Varun and I have gone through we are like an old married couple at one point. Because we went through so many fights, and I used to have, and as you know, I used to have this anger streak where I would be a little short tempered and I would constantly lose my temper. And Varun used to be almost always at the brunt of it. But just because Varun was Varun, he'd have this carefree nature about like shit, and it was just. I think more than anyone else, I think Varun taught me a lot of patience, because if you had to be Varun's friend, you want to enjoy all the good times. You got to deal with
Yeah.
the craziness as well, which is what Varun brings to the table. But I've seen Varun grow over the last 10 years that I've known him. And I got to tell you, man, he is probably one of the hardest working people I know. He puts in, I've seen the way he is at work. I've seen the way when we work on a personal project together, and we've worked on a few together. When he's on it, when and he decides, okay, I'm going to do this, right? He will probably spend a whole night up. And by the next day, he will have something to show you.
Correct.
All I could wish for him is that he gets out of his shell a little more. And I mean, the world's his oyster, man. I mean, he's got so much potential. He's just one of those guys that like if he puts his mind to something, he can do it. He can 100% do it. but at the same time, he does not compromise on being just that fun guy that he is, dude. It's
Correct.
just, he's just, and it's such a contrast, not a contrast in a bad way, but his brother, his twin brother, on the other hand, Vivek Raju, probably the most straight guy you'll meet. Doesn't drink too much, follows things and does things right. Also,
Yeah.
he's doing phenomenally well as well. He's an Audible right now.
He's
In
perfect son.
Sorry.
He's the perfect son.
He's the perfect son. He's like, see, the thing is, Varun's parents, because they got Vivek, they had to get Varun, right? You have someone who's
Hey, that's
okay,
harsh, dude. That's harsh.
No, that's not harsh. That's not harsh. And I mean this in a good way for both of them and a bad way for both of them. Vivek is great at follow. It's like being the exact example of what a successful career can look like when you follow everything that needs to be followed. Varun is just the fun guy,
Yeah.
and he still gets shit done. So I feel like you gotta have both. You gotta have a balance. They're like yin and yang. They're like and they balance each other out also, I think. And Varun, you would surprise you. Varun has a really sensitive side as well. He cares a lot about his
Ooh.
parents, and he's there for them, man. And for him, a major priority is being there for his parents, I think.
Absolutely. Like for me, I think I've lived with both of them, right? Like Vivek was my roommate for good 3 years. Varun almost like a roommate for college for so many years, and even now, spent so much time with him. Yeah, I think, couldn't agree more. There's no better way to put Varun or describe Varun than I think he was one of the most eccentric people in our group.
Most eccentric.
I think everyone else was like,
And he knew it, huh? And he was not an idiot. Like he tried to act sometimes like he's this loud swag boy. No, he was just playing to the crowd, and he's a smart guy. He just knew what worked and he went with it. And he gave us like so much joy because of that.
Even now, dude, like not even back then, even now with this whole BJP support thing, he's just doing it for the sake of it.
Controversial topics.
I think you need it as well. I think you need it, dude. Like,
yeah, we're
as much as shit we've given
alignment. Yeah, but yeah, the way he like truly like boils my blood sometimes with like pro BJP comments and shit like that. I'm just like, and he's just doing it to get a rise out of me. I can sense it.
Dude, I think political, okay, it's whatever, sensitive, okay. I will tell you another experience, right? We were watching World Cup finals, or like, the World Cup in 2011 in college. Everyone supporting India. India was like one of the favorites to win it, whatever. It's happening in India. This bugger is supporting Ireland. Like, what? And Ireland actually went on till the quarterfinals or something, and everyone's like, Varun, like, bhai, jeetega. I'm like, it's just, at some point he does anti-crowd, but that's what fun is, man.
Yeah, that's what fun is, man. I mean, you need a person like that to truly like just push your buttons a little, man. Everyone needs to have their buttons pushed, in my opinion. Huh?
I think like for me, I think one of the funniest experiences is I think he's got like the sides that you said about like caring about things and him being eccentric, but it comes out where he's being an anti-rebel, right? Like our conversation with, let's say, politics or like supporting Ireland or whatever. But then I remember in college there was one time where there was some inspection of the college, and people from Delhi were coming to see what's happening, and they said like, you can't have beard, you can't have like stylish hair, and this guy was like, bro, fuck that, I want to be different, or they can't like control whatever. So he went and shaved his eyebrows in zigzag pattern, and oh man, that's like such a good expression of being a rebel or like protest, but in his own style and way, right?
In his own style. He wouldn't push it too much, okay? Because I remember he used to talk all this shit, and then when seniors used to call him,
oh yeah,
with this cute little puppy, he's like, no bro, no bhaiya, no,
sorry Anna.
sorry Anna. Oh my god, man, I gotta tell you, man, I've had such a he's pissed me off so many times also. He's we used to get that 4:30 window, right, to go outside and like pick up whatever shit you needed. And we used to like plan, okay, let's go eat. Like there's this roll place nearby. Let's go get a few rolls. Let's get some Pepsi, maybe go chill out a little bit and then come back. And then around 4:25, he'll come and say, hey bro, Ban's calling me.
I'm going with Subu and Ban.
I'm going with, and I'm like, you son of a bitch. I spent this whole time like not eating and looking forward to this, and then you fucked me over in the last.
Hey bro, to be honest, I mean, Ban was offering something so much bigger, right? Like you can, right out of the college, you take the auto, go to Total Mall.
No, absolutely. No, I get it, man. If I was that close to Ban and Ban was that good a friend of mine, and he offered me something like that.
Yeah.
And we were all broke at that time, except Ban.
Seriously.
If he offered me like that, but like, fuck it, I would take it too, man. But I think part of it was that I was not included in that circle. Probably that was part of where my agitation came from.
Fair
Like,
enough.
fuck, you guys are going for KFC on the rat fucking and eating 20 rupee roll on the side of the road.
But then after some point, it became like a joke, right? Me and Varun going every day, and
Dude, I mean, at one point, right, I remember Vishwanath and I were having this. It was fine the first couple of times. Okay? At one point, it was Vishwanath and me. You guys would go. And Vishwanath and I would just sit there. Can this be real? Like, at some point, you have to realize, they have to realize it's a joke. He's taking them for a ride. He's treating them like a bitch. And then you guys were just kept going. It's like, man, who's winning here? Because on face level, it might seem like, Ban is winning because he's going there making fun of these guys. They're this thing. But at the end of the day, these guys are coming back with a stomach full of a good meal, had a good time outside. They've gone to good places, not paid a penny, and come back. I mean, at the end of the day, are they really the bitches here, or are they really smart playing the game?
All I have to say is haters gonna hate, bro. We got KFC burgers.
Yeah, you guys.
And we became very close to Ban, right?
Yeah, exactly. Okay, so that's another thing, right? At the end of the day, like me and Vishwanath can sit in the room and talk about principle and all that shit.
Yeah.
But we were eating dal rice from the mess. You guys were coming with KFC double burger, mega fries, all that shit. And we're sitting there, and like part of us is just like, the fuck, man. Even I wanted KFC. And me and Vishwanath, once a week, once we had saved up enough, we'd be like, okay, yeah, you know what? You want to go to Domino's, go to KFC, and we'd go as well along with you guys. But like, we'd have a small meal. Ban on the other table has like 2 double meals.
Yeah.
And what was that blue drink he used to get, dude?
Vanilla mojito.
Some shit. He used to get like 2 of those, and damn, he used to spend more in one day than I used to spend in maybe 2 weeks or a month.
Ban. Hashtag Ban's life.
But
I was just talking to Ban recently, right? And I think the thing is that that hasn't changed even now. Like
actually, let's get into Ban a little later because he's a whole interesting character to discuss as well.
Cool.
Let's move on from Varun to Vishwanath. I think the next common denominator between you and I.
Correct.
And I want to talk about Vishwanath as well, man, because Vishwanath has gone from being that person I used to bully and not like at all in my first semester to what I would say, and I lived with him during music.
You started loving him.
Man, I got to tell you, I've had some amazing conversations with that guy on the rooftop of that Bangalore house, with just like a couple of beers in hand. When we talk about like really get into shit, and I got to say, man, I've cherished his friendship, at the risk of sounding lame, but really getting to know him, getting to know the person that he is beyond all that weirdness that he brought, which he still has. But getting to know the person that he is, I'd say, one of the best decisions I take. I'm glad I didn't stick with my initial opinion of him.
Couldn't agree more. And it goes back to like, this college gave us this opportunity to kind of see different people for what they are. And
oh my God, he had this iPod in first semester. It was filled with bhajans, dude. Nothing else.
Dude, I remember like 8th semester when he moved to my, I know his drill and all of that, right? Like gets up in the morning, 5 o'clock in the morning, he gets up, goes, takes a shower, opens the door, like, and the cold wind just blows in at 5, and then he's sitting there doing his prayers, and then
there are definitely some stories I don't want to talk about. You know which one I'm talking about.
Yeah. Oh damn.
But man, without someone like Vishwanath, we wouldn't have those stories to tell, dude.
Fair enough.
But I got to tell you, about one experience having Vishwanath as a roommate. First of all, it is fucking annoying to wake up to be woken up at 5 a.m. to one guy doing Surya Namaskar in front of your bed. And he's just stretching over. He's got his hands up above his head, his pelvic thrusted out, and he looks at me and says, "Good morning." and I remember one time at 5 a.m. I woke up because he was screaming because there was a rat in our room. And the rat probably thought our room was the best place for it to live. No offense to the rat.
Yeah,
oh my God. Screaming at like 5 a.m. in the morning. My God, Vishwanath.
Oh man, I think Vishwanath is a very interesting character, right? He knows so much, he's so well read. And the thing is that there are people who are like, well read and talented, who when they talk to you, they impose their, let's say, the superiority, right? Vishnu is never like that,
No,
and
never like that. In
that's
fact,
why it's easier to become friends with him, even if you are not as smart as him, or like,
he
could
took it. He
match
took it.
him.
Yeah, he would take that opportunity to perhaps teach you or tell you what he was
Correct.
talking.
I
And you
remember like
know,
one
yeah,
thing. We were discussing something about like Iran war and how America created Saddam Hussein, right? And he was telling us the stories, and he went back all the way to the Ottoman Empire, and he would remember 1666, 23rd January on a Thursday evening. I'm like, what is this, dude?
nah,
And this went on for like 4 or 5 hours with dates in there.
dude, I've only met like maybe a handful of other people, maybe three, four other people who've had that depth of knowledge that he brought, and that was back then when he was 18 or 19 or something. I mean,
Yeah.
it was truly something. Now when I look back, that was clearly he's a special guy, man.
And seriously, so I think I remember one more thing where all of us, like you, me, Ban, Varun, all of us, and Vishnath would start talking and he'd say words, and I think somehow you would get it. Ban, most of the times he would get it. Even if he didn't get it, he would not act as if he didn't get it. He has to know it. And me and Varun would be like, "Macha, ennada solranga? What are they saying?"
But another really, like, I gotta appreciate Vishwanath for one thing. Huh? Like he would seem like the most straightforward guy, and then he totally throw a curveball at you. Out of
Correct.
nowhere, he'd throw a curveball and he'd just be like, fuck it, I'm going to do this something crazy. And one of the first incidents of that
Ooh.
was he was complete. Like there was this one time, it was me, Varun, Jagannath, and Vishwanath roommates.
Uh-huh.
And Vishwanath comes into the room, looks at Varun and says, "Hey, listen, I want to fight with you because I want to test my self-defense skills." Do you remember seeing this video? Because I, I,
Yeah.
took, I took this. So Varun first told him, "Dude, you don't want
Varun
to do
beat the
this."
shit out of him,
Yeah,
no?
yeah. Varun told him, "You don't want to do this because I will destroy you." But Vishwanath's like, "No, I know what to do. I just want to try. I want to see how good I am if I can hold myself up on a fight." So they start fighting, okay. And I start taking video evidence of him saying that he wants to fight because if he gets majorly injured, I need to show the authorities that it was him. So I start taking this video and they start fighting, okay. And Varun's like ripping this guy apart. Vishwanath's rolling on the floor, trying to kick him, do some karate kick or something. And then the funniest part, okay, eventually, this is like maybe 10 minutes into the fight. They fought for a long time. It's like not even 10, maybe I'm exaggerating, maybe 2-3 minutes into the fight, Vishwanath turns to like Vishwanath's holding Varun's hand and he's like not holding his hand, he's like has his hand out, he's like, "Okay, I can finally read what you're going to do."
Oh yeah, he says this.
And Varun just slapped. Varun just slapped. That was the moment I broke and I said, "Stop, this is done. You cannot continue this anymore because this guy will die."
Oh, nice.
Oh man, but I gotta say, we gotta get Vishwanath on this, man. I was talking to him, I asked him. I'm sure I can convince him convince him to come on board for like one, because I'd love to get him on board and for us to talk through some of these things, man.
Cool,
But in
cool.
terms
Yeah,
of a
let's do
guy,
it.
I can't deny that. But moving on,
Absolutely.
and I think someone you could introduce probably better than I can, Anirban. Let's talk about Anirban.
Oh man, Anirban is this like, kid prodigy genius
Genius.
uh,
I gotta say, genius.
who knows everything without, like, for 4 years this guy went to college without studying, went to exams without studying, like not even looked through the textbook or notes or whatever, and still ended up getting a 9 pointer. Like, I think it's like he's a prodigy, right?
He's a special
Not
guy, man.
probably not the best of people's skills, but he had his own way and people got along, and he found his way, right? But I think I was talking to Ban very recently, and it was about how he has been like the core element of my story of me growing, because I think when I was in college, he was the first year. He was the only one, probably one of the few ones with like internet connection, and he would give it so that I could watch like Barcelona versus Real Madrid or like all these football matches, right?
Yeah, you would
And
have an insane internet connection. He had insane gadgets per se.
oh yeah, and you begin to think that why would people give so that I could watch matches, right? And I think being rich and uh, you know loaded is one thing, but then the intention to give and like see someone else happy, I have not seen it with any other rich person. Like, it's
Actually,
very
I want
very
to
rare.
I want to interject here. Like, okay, you probably know, and
Mm-hmm.
everyone does. Like, Ban and I didn't see eye to eye on a lot of things, and we would have our
Mm-hmm.
little fights. And I mean, always, during the undergrad years, we had a few back and forths.
I'll tell you why. Because both of you are alphas, and two alphas don't go together. It's as
But
simple as that, bro. It's not like both of you can't gel together. Both of you are alphas. Two
yeah, but
alphas
I
don't.
don't I don't buy into that anymore. I don't think that concept is given.
Back then. Maybe
Yeah,
now
back
we've
then. I
all
mean,
evolved.
yeah. Okay. Anyway, but I have to admit, uh, him, he has probably, like, all we've talked about the treats that he would give
Yeah.
and call you guys out. He is a very generous person. In general, he definitely puts on this. Like, he bitches people out and all. But in, like, you boil it down. Like,
Yeah.
if you genuinely ask him for help without any of the flares, he would do it. And I've experienced that too a few times. He's always been, when it comes to genuinely offering help, he's always been very, very open to, without hesitation. And that's actually one thing. Like, if you ask him to teach you something, right, he would do
Mm-hmm.
it. He wouldn't have to worry about himself learning, because
Correct.
he knew all this shit.
Yeah.
Vishwanath, on the other hand, which is a good quality. I'm not trying to say it's a bad thing.
Mm-hmm.
Vishwanath knew when he had to draw a line and say, "I'm sorry, but I need to learn, so I
Yeah.
can't do this right now," which I think is
Correct.
great. I don't think a
It's
lot
a
of people
great
do that.
quality. Yeah. It's a
It's a
great
great quality.
quality.
You need to be able to know when to look out for yourself.
Correct.
But Ban just automatically knew shit, and he didn't have any hesitation in just going out and.
He's selfless, dude, when it comes to helping out. No, generally, I think he's quite
He's a nice chap, man.
nice.
I've grown to like him a lot since then, and just generally, like, talking to him as well. He's a nice guy. Like,
Oh,
I
but
wouldn't.
so much fun also, right? We remember the times when he would just like go, oh,
Yeah.
epic, bro, God level, oh,
Do you remember the time he got high on caffeine?
oh yeah.
So he's never had caffeine before. Then he had some 5 coffees back to back, and that's Ban. That's classic Ban. If he does something, he will do it to the
Overdo it.
extreme. Yeah. So he had like 5 cups back to back, and then he's just walking from room to room, laughing like a maniac. It's just, it's just Ban, dude. But
Oh
yeah,
man.
Ban also provided those moments of pure pleasure.
Oh, so much fun, dude. Like, I think for me and Varun, right, one of the closest bonding, me and Varun are such close friends also because of Ban being the common element, right?
Yeah.
And we spent so much time together because of Ban as well, right?
Yeah.
And on the other hand, like you, let's say, for example, he will, Varun, although he would piss you off, he would not like, go out and, call you out on something majorly, right? He knew that he had like limited cards with you to play, and he would just play it when it's necessary, right? And then when he can't play a card, he will come and bitch about you to me, right? So on one hand, that spent a lot of time, and the other hand, Ban is treating us so well. Like, I mean, at some point you're like, our parents are not even spending this much, and this guy is spending so. Like, it got to a point where, like, me and Varun, I know that everyone, like, me and Varun, both of us felt like, I know everyone is judging us, feeling like, we should be ashamed and like whatever, but this is good. How do we drop this? And I found some sort of a solace in this guy, right? Because
Yeah.
he's also going through this. And yeah, I mean, coming back to it, I think great character, dude, Ban. And especially me, right? I was telling you before that this whole college experience changed me into thinking about like doing something, and that evolved over the years into something else. Ban was always there. Like, I mean, I didn't even have a laptop until third year, right? So
So
Ban would just, anytime I
yeah.
wanted to do something, Ban was like, bro, take my laptop. I'm anyway playing games, and
Yeah.
that's a lot for like a 19-year-old or 20-year-old to say,
No, it's
right?
a lot. It's a lot. I want to actually have a super funny story that came to my mind about Varun and Ban's laptop.
Oh damn.
Dude, like, I'm going to say it anyway because you know it, but hopefully if someone's listening, and it's
Yeah.
a damn funny story. I remember coming back from college. So the hostel block is separate. Our university where the classes
Mhm.
happen is separate. I
Mhm.
remember walking back from the university towards the hostel block, and there's this tree over there by that tiny little grocery store.
Uh-huh.
And Varun's sitting there looking utterly depressed.
Uh-huh.
So I go sit down next to him, and then I ask, dude, what's up? You seem very low. He's like, bro, I'm gonna tell you something, but please keep this to yourself. I'm like, yeah, okay, dude, what happened? He's like, nah, dude, I broke Ban's laptop. I was like, shit, okay. And this was first semester,
Yeah.
or second semester.
Second semester, yeah.
It's a big fucking deal for us.
It's a huge deal, bro.
It's a big fucking deal, and like fixing a laptop is not a small cost. It could cost a lot of money.
Probably like a year's pocket money or something.
Yeah, crazy. So, And then I asked him, dude, okay, yeah, what happened? He's like, dude, I don't know, dude. Like, just like, I opened the locker door and then it just slipped out suddenly and the screen cracked. And I wasn't laughing then. I was like pretty serious. He's like, okay, bro, you got to tell Ban, you got to talk to him. He told Ban, Ban's like, Ban does that, walking in the rain, I'm sad sort of
Yeah.
behavior. I was like, okay, dude, it broke. Fine, fuck it, dude. He does that whole, and Varun's all feeling all guilty. He's like, dude, I'm going to fix it. It was just an accident. I don't know how it happened. Later, Barthendu, who is Varun's roommate, okay,
Correct.
Barthendu comes and tells us the actual story of what happened.
Uh-huh.
Varun's the biggest asshole with this laptop. He takes it, when he's done with it, he just flings it into the locker, closes it. He doesn't give a shit. He has it on his bed when he's sleeping. He's rolling over it.
Oh, that's classic Varun.
Classic Varun. And he's like, what Parthendu said, I remember when it broke. Varun's all acting all hyper and all, opens the locker in like the force of, like with the force of Thor. Everything in his locker just comes flying out.
Yeah.
And the laptop just crashes. This is 100% Varun's fault. He should 100% pay for it.
So I was at the other side. We were at Tiamadai for the Coimbatore campus for some event or something.
Okay.
And Ban gets a call from Akshat. That dude, Varun wants to tell you something, but take it easy.
He made
or something.
Akshat call.
yeah. He's like, I'm not calling. And then Akshat's like, okay, Varun wants to tell you something. And this Varun, instead of explaining something, or he couldn't wait until Ban coming back, he just said that, Ban, I broke your laptop. I'm sorry. I will take care of it. I will pay back. I'm really sorry. And then keeps it. And Ban gets furious. Dude, what do you mean he broke my laptop? And Ban gets like, paranoid, right? More than he should.
Yeah.
For the momentarily thing, right? He knows that, okay, he'll buy a new laptop or like he'll fix it or whatever. He probably doesn't need it. But just to show that, he sometimes overdoes it, right? Yeah. So he goes around saying that, hey, dude, what do you mean he broke my laptop? And he is panicking. I'm going to beat the shit out of Varun. No more. And because of him, all the things that everybody else got from Ban is at stake here. So everyone's like pissed off at Varun. What the fuck? Now Ban is now going to give us like his
yeah, because Ban
other gadgets,
lending it to everyone.
Yeah. So he put all of us at stake.
Yeah, man, that was crazy. That was...
But good that Varun actually
owned up to
fixed it over half a year.
Yeah. It took him half a year, but he fixed it. Yeah.
Oh, bro, the follow-up story was Varun went to some shop. Please fix it, whatever. So instead of replacing the screen, they put some gum and stuck the screen. Okay. Yeah. And then Varun comes back and gives it to Ban. Bro, now it's working, whatever. And then Ban uses it. And he's like, bro, it's not working, bro. Then Varun says, bro, you have to hold it in a particular angle, then it will work.
Classic Varun, man.
Good stuff.
Oh. So I think we should start wrapping up, but I just want to like probably establish, before we call it, like, what do you think, man? Where do you think we're talking about the last 10 years? So the next 10 years, there's no surety. Let's face that, because everything we decided the last 10 years, nothing of it has panned out. No, it's panned out. Wherever we are now is great. But nothing we decided the last 10 years is how things panned out now.
Correct.
But, what do you think, dude? Now, when we are close to 40, what do you think?
Oh. I don't know, bro. I think I want something what I did in my 20s in my 30s as well. Like collect more experiences, have more fun. Yeah. I think job, whatever you do, I hope that does. So I really, in my 20s, like this whole job, making it took a lot of my focus, right? Even if I didn't do so much, right? It did take a fair share of my mind. I hope that my 30s that doesn't take so much space in my mind in my 30s. I would just wish for that. I mean, other than that, yeah, it would be nice to be comfortable and chill and like do some craziness. Yeah, probably get married, have kids, and Subu Junior, and I don't know. It'll be fun. I'm really looking forward to it.
Yeah, man. I agree with you. I think probably the next phase is so that's part of my goal for this month as well, right? To really sit and reflect on and I've made some very big mistakes over the last 10 years. really just sit, reflect, and know what. And I think I have a clearer picture of what I want going forward.
Correct.
And I mean, there's no point getting into it. There's like a whole spectrum to talk about. But I think I have a clearer picture, and I think I'm a little more better suited. Not better suited is not the word. I'm a little more. I think my thoughts, my everything is a little more structured. So for me to achieve that is now not an impossible goal. I think I can. I think it's very possible for me to get out and get some of the things that I know I want for sure. Mm-hmm. And I think that's what the last 10 years have helped me establish. Things I want, things I don't want. Mm-hmm. And the things I want, I think I'm in a better place to go and actually achieve them.
That is really good, bro. I don't think I'm there yet. I'm still figuring out my mind around it.
No, obviously, I'm not saying I'm 100% prepared, but at least I think I've taken the first few steps. Now I think I know, I think I know the immediate next step that I need to do, and hopefully the rest just starts falling in place.
So I'll tell you the difference between you and me right now. What I see is that I think you, from what you like speaking to you, I think there is a sort of a confidence in your ability that, I got it. And obviously the work needs to be done. There's uncertainty, all of that. But like there is this inner confidence, right? So for me, that confidence is, I'm still in the phase where I'm building that confidence.
No, absolutely.
Validations. I mean,
I wouldn't say that I have it 100%, but I'm also in that phase. I mean, I don't think it's not like you either have it or you don't. It's a constantly evolving.
Correct.
You gotta keep it up, because it takes very little to break down that confidence as well. One Absolutely. Failure, 2 failures back to back, and you're done. You'll probably be back to what do I know? I don't know anything. Correct. Sort of thing. But I mean, it's just a matter of keeping at it, right?
But good stuff. 10 years has been amazing, actually.
10 years has been amazing.
Amazing 10 years.
This has been great. Talking about this has been absolutely fantastic. Hopefully we can do this again with a few other interesting characters.
Yeah.
So
let's do that.
Thanks, Subu. I'm gonna call this on this podcast right now, and hopefully whoever's listening to this has a good time as we've had talking about these things.
Cool. But what are we calling it? Are we calling Average Joes?
Average Joes, yeah. Let's call it Average Joes, because that's what we are, right?
Yeah, very nice, sir. Yeah, I like it.
All right, cool. Let me quickly stop this recording. And
all the best for Barcelona. I hope you get to see Messi live.
Yeah, hopefully. Let's see.
All right, man. Take care, bro.
Bye.
Chalo. See you. Bye-bye.